1986 was deja vu all over again for funny car teams competing against Kenny Dale and Company. They won an impressive 5 national events and 8 final round appearances, set a lap time and speed records, and again clinched the title long before the season was over. In March of 1986, Don Garlits became the first racer through the 270-mile-an-hour barrier. A year later, during qualifying for the U.S. Nationals, Kenny Bernstein rode his Budweiser King to the sport's first 270-mile-an-hour pass in funny car. Computer monitoring of engine functions, wind tunnel sculpted bodies, inventive new fuel systems and clutch development, all part and parcel of Dale's contribution to the success of the Budweiser King. All part and parcel of why they proudly wore number 1.
You don't have to egg him on to be innovative. He pushes it out there pretty hard. Sometimes we have to try to calm him back and pull him in and say, hey, wait a second. There were times in the funny car days we didn't change on anything for quite a while because we were so dominant there was no reason to. But once you start losing a little ground, then you have to start pushing. But even in the funny car days when we were dominant, Dale was still looking for other areas to try to make it better, to go to for the next step. There were certain times we had 2 or 3 things lined up to go to when we felt it was necessary, and that was a great feeling to have at that time.
Stepping back a minute, you say where we had the edge, we really did for the last 3 years, say, and I've thought about that a lot, why we had that edge and why we were managing to stay ahead of the rest of the competitors and come up with the new innovations. And really, when you look back on it all and think, why is this car going quicker and quicker, and how it did it step by step, it all relates back to information we derived off the race pack computer. And the reason we got such a good jump on these guys 3-4 years ago was that we were instrumental in developing that computer for use on these cars. But now everybody's got them computers and they're getting all the same information that we got, and so consequently we're all bunched up here. So we got to look at other ways of improving the power and so forth.
7 for 7 in 87. Well, it never made it as a bumper sticker, but it accurately describes the year Kenny and Dale had. 7 national event wins and 7 final round appearances. They were so dominating, clinching the title by the Keystone Nationals, the points battle for second held more drama. It is a truism of the sport. Push the envelope and things will get hot. But prior to qualifying for the 1987 Keystone Nationals, Kenny and Dale had seemed immune to the rule.
I looked at it this way. I always look at crashes like that as law of averages. It ain't going to happen again the next day. It happened to you once. You bought some time for a while. So I don't look at it as it will happen again because, again, it really doesn't. Those are freaky things that take place. They're not daily routines, so it doesn't take place. And not only that, the guys stayed up all night and worked on it, got it ready to go the next day of the races, and Armstrong comes up to me and looks at me and says, well, old man, do you think you can handle this again? I said, well, if you can stay up all night, I can drive it. So, you know, we got out there and did good that day. We actually wrapped up the championships, and we almost won the event, which would have been phenomenal. But I can't say enough about the effort that was put into that from the team. They just did a phenomenal job because it was burned to the ground, and the ground was burned, as you said.
By 1988, the top funny car teams had caught up to Kenny and Dale mechanically, plus the luck bank called in some of Kenny's earlier loans. After 3 years of otherworldly performance, the Budweiser team seemed decidedly human en route to narrowly winning a fourth Winston championship.
Bernstein dominates.
Experienced in school and work with personal relationships, people set expectations for us based on past performances. For Kenny and Dale, staying at the top once they got there put them in a glass fishbowl pressure cooker, intensified by their own desires, the competition and the fans.
I'm not pushed by pressure. I think that, like I say, I just drive myself hard enough just because I want to win myself, you know. So I'm not bothered by the pressure, but I'd rather have the pressure, on the other hand, being here at the top and having to face the pressure than be down there, you know, one of the 8th, 9th, 10th, 11th car or something where nobody's even paying attention to you. I think that's more pressure.
I think pressure you build up a lot in yourself, but it's truly a fact that it is there because your sponsors want you to win and you want to win, so you do build that pressure. I think bottom line is if we had never been a world champion, there'd be more pressure. I think once you become a Winston world champion, they can never take that away from you, and that really, really, believe it or not, takes a ton of pressure off the shoulders.
In racing, the laws of nature and physics demand that for everything you try that works, expect at least one thing you tried to fail. For the better part of 4 years, Kenny and Dale could do no wrong. So it was inevitable that in 1989, the laws of nature and competition would catch up with them. Trying for a record 5th Winston Funny Car title, the Bud team won 3 national events and was runner-up at 2 more, but it lacked the consistency that had been its hallmark. For every win, a first-round loss. For every runner-up, a second-round loss. At season end, Kenny passed his Winston crown to 20-year veteran Bruce Larson.
Once you get one, you want the next one, and the next one, you never want to stop. Like I said, anytime you have a taste of success and you win, and as much as we did back in those days, you don't like the feeling of losing even more then than you do now. So your goals are to win the next year and the next and the next and keep it going. You know it's not going to last forever, but boy, if it'll ride for 3 or 4 years, let it go because it's a great feeling.
Long and sleek, low-slung, nitro missiles. There is nothing in all of motorsports like them. They are the kings of the sport. And in 1990, Kenny Bernstein and Dale Armstrong made the move into Top Fuel.
It was pretty obvious the writing was on the wall that Top Fuel was going to be extremely popular in the future. Funny Car wasn't going to get to the Fords for a long time. It certainly wasn't going to get to 300 miles an hour for a long time, but the Top Fuel cars were already bumping 290, 291, and 2 pretty fast. And I felt really at that particular time that for our sponsor, we needed to be in Top Fuel racing because that's where the publicity was going to go. And I felt that from the beginning. The second reason was that Dale and I both wanted the challenge. We wanted to make the change and do battle with those guys in Top Fuel and be on a given Sunday the fastest and best car that was there all day.